Enjoy the action. It's Kilmarnock against Copenhagen for a place in the Conference League with Cammy Bell, Lee McCulloch and Liam McLeod.
Thanks, Kenny. Very disappointed that Lee forgot all about the Battle of Britain that he was involved in against, it was just Manchester United.
It was only Man United, Liam.
20-time English champions, European Cups. Never mind. The first one was a 0-0, pretty forgettable. We are here in Ayrshire for Kilmarnock against Copenhagen. Kelly with it all to do, 2-0 down, and looking to perhaps call on the European matches from the past to try and get themselves back from 2 down tonight. Their greatest ever European result was against Eintracht Frankfurt, their first ever foray into continental competition, that in the Fairs Cup in 1964. Under Willie Waddle, they famously defeated the German side, having lost the first leg 3-0 away from home, and they won the second 5-1 to go through, coming from 3 goals back. It's not quite that, but it's the tallest of orders facing Derek McInnes's team this evening here in the Ayrshire sunshine. The Copenhagen players are away into huddle off to the left, wearing their change colours this evening, the red shirts, blue shorts, red socks with the blue tops. Kilmarnock in their famous blue and white striped shirts, white shorts, white socks. Beaten 2-0 last week. Dix with that disputed penalty, which he converted, and Falk with a kind of fortuitous volley which came off his shin in stoppage time, which has put them 2-0 behind. So it's an absolute nightmare scenario for Derek McInnes, and unfortunately they're going to have to do it the hard way this evening. There is going to be a moment here, I think it is going to be silence, and it is in memory of Sven-Göran Eriksson, and it is something that will be happening across the footballing community in these European qualifiers this week. Former England manager Sven-Göran Eriksson, who passed away a couple of days ago, and the wonderful spells with a couple of Italian clubs in the 90s as well, and he's remembered across the continent this midweek. Copenhagen will kick off. They're going to shoot left to right towards the Moffat stand. We're at the back of the main stand. Kilmarnock will shoot towards the Chadwick stand, about 200-250 Copenhagen supporters sitting there in the centre point of that stand off to our left, and the Danes with a 2-goal cushion up against the Kilmarnock side, haven't even scored in their last 3 games since Joe Wright sent them through to this Conference League playoff. The Bulgarian referee just about to get things underway. Remember, Hearts Pilsen in the Europa League playoff kicks off in about 45 minutes time, live on the BBC Scotland TV channel. Here on the radio, it is Kelly, and the referee is just about ready to go. He points to the centre spot, 2 Copenhagen players in there, and the match is underway. One of them there, Elyounoussi, who's played here twice before during his spells on loan at Celtic, as that's rolled back to Gabriel Pereira, the left centre-back for the visitors. For Kilmarnock tonight, O'Hara in goal, Burrows, Mayo, Wright and Findlay, who is going to start out at... well, in fact, Burrows has come over to left back by the looks of things anyway. We'll let the guys dissect that shortly. Armstrong, Lyons, Donnelly, Kennedy with Vassell and Watkins up front. So it's a front 4 that Derek McInnes gets to see really for the first time this season, as Kennedy wins the free kick just left of the centre circle and rolls it out to Burrows on this near side. He's on loan from his hometown club Coventry. Big switch of play is poor though. It's been picked up wide on the left by the Peruvian Marcos Lopez at left back. Gets his cross in, having driven down the left hand side. It's headed away back out to the Kilmarnock right. as Copenhagen win it back through Pereira, the Brazilian, who goes down and wins the free kick over on that far side, just a few yards from that far side touchline. And Copenhagen looking to score the goal you would think would be enough to put them through. If they can establish a 3-goal lead, it then becomes a very dark evening for Killie. It's a quick free kick which is taken over there. It's the Rasmus Falk, as I said, one of the goal scorers last week. Back to Pereira, who moves it left to right of the centre circle. Here for the Slovakia international, Denis Vavro, who knocks it forward. It's going to be picked up by Lyons. He was sent off against Aberdeen at the weekend. Again, it was a decision that was fairly contentious, depending on what side of the fence you were on. I suppose Derek McInnes did not agree with the decision, as Copenhagen win another free kick just right of the centre circle this time, and it's the captain, Victor Claesson, the Swede. He's played in a couple of major tournaments, and it is a Copenhagen side that, whilst it's perhaps not as strong as it has been, and they were shorn of a couple of stars in the summer, the side that got to the last 16 of the Champions League last term, it's still a team that has internationalists in it, and it's a talented side as well, though beaten for the first time at the weekend as it's knocked out to this near side and shifted back just to Vavro, who goes back to his goalkeeper. And it's a long ball there from the English-born Nathan Trott, drops down halfway inside his own half, and Kilmarnock have it with Armstrong winning it back. He finds Watkins out to Burrows, and then Kennedy puts it behind Danny Armstrong, and that will allow Vavro to clear. It's 0-0, 2.5 minutes in. Lee McCulloch, what are you making of the Kilmarnock setup?
Well, we've got Finlay and Mayo as two centre-half. You've got Wright at right-back, and Burrows is naturally right-footed at left-back. And Copenhagen just a chance here when he's trying to cut in to his preferred right foot, and he just tried to switch a play and he gets cut out. But Kilmarnock have started the pressure when they're pressing high. Copenhagen don't look as if they want to play through the press. They're forcing errors, and they're making Copenhagen go direct early on in the game. So in my opinion, it's pretty good start for Kilmarnock.
A foul there in El Yanusi midway inside his own half for Copenhagen. The free kick, Vavro is over it. El Yanusi was a goal scorer the last time he was on Scottish soil playing football, when he netted for Norway in the European Championship qualifying campaign 10 months ago. It was a 3-3 draw as Kilmarnock pinch it back in the far side with Watkins. His ball forward though will fall to Gabriel Pereira, who has it over on that left hand side. The initial thoughts of Cammy Bell as he watches the early exchanges here at Rugby Park.
Yeah, I agree with Lee. Again, when Kilmarnock are pressing high, Copenhagen look a little bit uncomfortable, and it was the same last week, Liam. There was when Kilmarnock, I said it before the match, when they pressed high, I felt as if they had a lot of joy. They forced Copenhagen and a lot of unforced errors, and they won the ball back up high up the pitch. So it's been a positive start. I look at the back four, it looks very robust, sort of almost like 4 centre halves along the back line there. So, but it's just all about concentration in these early stages.
First defeat of the season it was for Copenhagen at the weekend when they were beaten by Nordsjælland on Sunday. They lost 3-2 despite threatening a comeback from 3-0 down at the break. They scored twice in the second half. Wanted man Oscarsson and Claesson scored. But they ultimately would lose for the first time this campaign. The problem for Kilmarnock as well is they haven't actually lost by the kind of scoreline that would take this tie to extra time, since they were beaten 3-1 by Manchester City in the last 16 of the Champions League last season. Scotland's Scott McKenna was part of the defence on that occasion during his loan spell, as Killie pick up right of the centre circle. And it's Mayo going back to Finlay. Mayo was surely fouled there. The ref, I think, is just allowing Kilmarnock an advantage. A clip ball forward there by Burrows. Breaks to Kennedy, left-hand side of the box, taking on Vavro to the bylines. A decent ball back, doesn't quite find Vassell, and Copenhagen have enough to get it away. It's a long ball up towards El Yanusi wide in the left as he gives chase, looking to keep it in, which he does. Down that left-hand side, faced by Joe Wright and Mayo. It's a low ball into the Kilmarnock box, but it comes trickling through to Kieran O'Hara, and it remains Kilmarnock 0, Copenhagen 0, 5.5 into the second leg.
Yeah, Copenhagen look a little bit out of sorts defensively. That was Vavro there. Simple clearance he had to make, but then I don't know what happened. It didn't get any connection in the ball. It was just unlucky. from Matt Kennedy, who dispossessed them. Kilmarnock have started this game well. I think Copenhagen's threat is the top end of the pitch, so when Kilmarnock are going forward, that's when they're most vulnerable.
Just one win for Killie so far this season. It was that brilliant one in Norway against Tromsø. The header back towards his own goal. Mayo's under pressure. He put himself under pressure, really slides in. In fact, it was Joe Wright who has managed to get it back to O'Hara. It goes long, Vassell goes down. The referee points for the free kick to Kilmarnock, and it's just beyond the midway point of Copenhagen territory. And about 10 yards from the far side touchline. The centre-backs might be very interested in this one. And we know the kind of quality and delivery that Danny Armstrong has. And Cammy, he's going to need to be on point tonight.
Yeah, they're going to need good quality from the wide areas, these set pieces. They need good balls in the box. But that's just Vassell all over. Makes it so uncomfortable for the defenders. Just a long ball up the pitch and he's all over, climbing all over and pulls them down. He buys a free kick. And as you say, Liam, it's all about the quality in the box here, because they've got enough height in their team.
Kennedy's gone out there as well, but he would think with the left boot, whip it into that corridor would be the best option, as Armstrong does take it. It's decent as well. It's headed up high and over the crossbar there from the midfielder Lucas Lair, and that's going to be a Kilmarnock corner, first of the evening. 7 in at 0-0.
Yeah, decent ball in from Danny again onto that 6-yard line. The Kilmarnock players running towards the Copenhagen goal, and the Copenhagen defender looked very uncomfortable clearing it, so there'll be more of that needed.
It will be Kennedy to take over on the far side, right-footed, out-swinging corner as Killie attack the goal to the left. It's a little bit windy, a little bit blustery. See the flags over on the far side, just in the gap between the two stands. Fluttering. The corner flag as well as Kennedy takes, and it comes to the 6-yard area. It's flicked off the head of Avro. It's going to drop down still on the 6-yard line. Vassell knocks it back to the edge of the area. Armstrong on the volley's blocked. And then the clearance is made, and it's, I think, the final touch from Froholt over on the far side. Kilmarnock get it back, chasing after it's Armstrong. Defending over there is Lopez, the left back, and he plays it off the Killie man and out for a throw-in to the visitors over there. But it's been a relatively bright start by Kilmarnock. Derek McInnes will be pretty happy with that. He'll be wanting them to, obviously, try and find that crucial goal during a decent spell in this first half.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy. What are we going at 9 minutes gone? They've looked a threat for set plays. The pressure high up on their defence, on Copenhagen's defence. They look a little bit shaky, but as I say, on the counter-attack, Copenhagen have got pace to burn, and that's where I've just seen Derek McInnes shouting on to Stuart Finlay there. Concentration levels when we're going forward. Don't be watching the game, make sure you're picking up your man.
That's what's key, Lee, is that again Kilmarnock are concentrating when they're attacking, because as you say, that counter-attack's going to be the main threat for me for Copenhagen. You've seen it already with the transitions really quick. Elyounoussi has got pace to burn, as you say, so that's where Copenhagen's threat is so far.
Free kick meantime for the visitors, the edge of their own box, because Vassell was offside from a previous ball. He did well to get it under control actually, but he was in an offside position. Lopez goes back to his goalkeeper Nathan Trott, who arrives at Copenhagen as a former England under-20 international from a few years ago. He was on the books at West Ham for 8 years, several loans away, signed a 4-year deal, and replaces the former number 1 Camille Grabara, who went to Wolfsburg in the summer for around 14 million euros. So it was an area of the team that they really needed to sort, and they have done. Long ball goes out to play for a Kilmarnock throw-in on this near side from said goalkeeper. Out on this near side to be taken by Jack Burrows. Long ball up towards halfway, looking for Vassell. It's nodded away by the Dutchman Dix. Drops down on the halfway line and then sliced forward. High ball from Lair. Headed back into the midfield. Kilmarnock battling for it with Brad Lyons, who heads it into the Copenhagen half. Headed forward by Dix to Klaassen. He's on the turn, but it's hooked all the way through to Kieran O'Hara, who has both gloves on it. Long ball from the towering Kilmarnock keeper out to that right-hand side, looking for Armstrong, who goes down. The ref's not interested in the optimistic appeals from some of the Killie supporters over on the far side. It will be a throw-in to Copenhagen, and it's balled back into their own penalty area here for Gabriel Pereira. one of the other new signings for this term. The visitors who are looking to try and wrestle the title back from Midtjylland this season. And it's with Lopez on the far side, ball up towards halfway. Shifted back there by Falk out to the left-hand side, and then switched into a central area where Vavro's onto it, and then into the midfield on the turn is Rasmus Falk, and he's managed to work it to Achuri out on the left-hand side of the Kilmarnock box. It comes, Churi's back onto it, an option on the overlap to the left, waited too long, he plays it short to Elyounoussi instead. Back the way to Falk, back out left, Falk's back onto it, steps away from Marley Watkins, who slips, gets back to his feet, and then it's rolled onto the halfway line, but it's picked up by Pereira. Short ball into the midfield for Falk, who always seems to want it. The challenge goes in, and Elyounoussi, and Falk's giving it away. Watkins looking to fire it forward into the feet of Vassell. Covering is Pereira, though, down facing his own byline, and he's managed to shepherd it behind for the goal kick to Copenhagen. It remains 0-0. The damage remains at 2-0 to the Danes, but it's without testing the goalkeeper, Cammy. Kilmarnock have enjoyed some decent possession in Copenhagen territory in these early stages.
Yeah, and again, that's down to the high press. They've went for a press there. It can be dangerous having the high press, but also it's got a lot of rewards. That when the goalkeeper's got it, they're almost going man v man in the Copenhagen half, and they've done that last week. I mentioned it before that they got a lot of joy of that, and Derek McInnes is obviously stuck with that, so they just need to keep this tempo up because they've started really well.
Ball ends up in the midfield, but it's an important header there from Lewis Mayo to get it out to Joe Wright, who fires it forward. It was looking like Elias Achuri might well be able to get in there first, and then he would have been in behind the defence potentially. And it's knocked out of play for a throw into Copenhagen inside their own half, level with the edge of the centre circle. The visitors left, pulled into the midfield for Elyounoussi, trying to get the break of the ball. Comes to Achuri, rolls it out to this near side, and a little bit of space is Kevin Dix. Ball forward's poor though, it's cut out, and then Burrows gets it away. Down the Kilmarnock left, Kennedy chasing. Cut out by Vavro, who's going to get it back, having seen his initial clearance charge down. And Vavro was back to his goalkeeper. And a little short ball just outside his box to Falk, and he gets it back immediately. Of course, Copenhagen don't need to score tonight, and they have the insurance policy of that stoppage time goal last week in the first leg in Denmark, which will be a little bit of a safety net for them, so absolutely no need for any kind of drama for the visitors tonight. It's up to Copenhagen or Kilmarnock to provide the drama. But here's a ball in from the left-hand side. It looked like there might be an offside flag there as it was played in from that left flank, and it just seemed to be way too much space just outside the 6-yard box there for Victor Froholt. It came from nowhere, got to the 6-yard line, goal's in front of him, and he's put it past the left-hand post. But I was expecting a flag there.
Yeah, I think Wright's been caught out there. The ball over his head. Again, tremendous turn of pace. It was Achuri this time. Got to the byline, put it across. Froholt's getting into the back post. He just doesn't make enough contact. I was expecting the flag myself, Liam, but he's got to score that. That's a real chance, and it just shows you in behind this Kilmarnock defence with the pace that Copenhagen have got at the top end of the pitch, they are a threat.
And I say, Liam, that was a danger. Trott had the ball and he's literally just launched it over the top of the Kilmarnock defence. One ball over the top, cross in, and a huge chance, as Lee said. A massive let-off for Killie.
I was fully expecting that to be offside. But anyway, Kilmarnock, a little bit of a let-off. Froholt has missed a huge chance to potentially put this tie beyond Killie, who have a free kick themselves midway inside Copenhagen territory. Similar position to the previous one that Danny Armstrong had, and maybe a little bit closer to the touchline on the far side. Armstrong and Kennedy, as usual, both stand over. It was Armstrong last time. Again, it does favour the left footer. Kennedy's left it. Armstrong takes it, aiming it in towards Finlay. It's off the post. The rebound is unbelievably saved. It's still alive, and Killie score. Watkins forces it home. 3 opportunities they had, and Watkins gobbles up the third, and that means tie
I honestly don't know what happened. the free kicks come in. Finley's won a header. What a header it was. It's hit the post, and then there's a goal-mouth scramble, which seemed for like forever. Marley Watkins doing what he does best. I think he's inside the 6-yard box. He just pokes it in. 1-0. What a start this has been for Kilmarnock.
Yeah, unbelievable header from Stuart Findlay, because he's all of sort of 12-15 yards out. He just guides it in off. It hits the post. The goalkeeper trotting makes an incredible
brilliant save, yeah.
An incredible save. And then somehow it just falls to Marley Watkins and he puts it in the back of net.
Hold on though. The VAR check is underway, just to make sure all is good here, because there were plenty players in that 6-yard box. Hopefully when it first came off the post, then the save.
Hopefully there's a second celebration here, Liam.
We'll find out shortly. The Bulgarian referee has his left hand up to his left ear as he listens to the video assistant who's watching replays. It must be pretty tight. It's taken a little while here. Kilmarnock, the scoreboard over there says Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 0. Is that to be the scoreline? Have Kilmarnock just built themselves a foundation with which to get themselves into a position where they might end up in the Conference League? Huge moment this, and still the referee waits. Still the replays are being viewed, so we don't know yet. It's goal, yeah, goal given. It is a goal, and there is the second celebration. And Kilmarnock lead Copenhagen on the night 1-0. They trail 2-1 in aggregate, but this is exactly what Derek McInnes wanted. An early goal in this second leg, and it's giving these Kilmarnock supporters, Cammy, all kinds of hope now as Copenhagen get themselves a corner.
Absolutely, and what a start to the game, and they've fully deserved it. They've been well on top, they've pressed really well, and that goal just all over. The header was phenomenal. This is where it's so important. They need to keep their concentration, and they can't concede straight away.
Yeah, no, big moment coming in here. Marcus Lopez is out to take the corner on the Copenhagen right as they attack the goal to the right. First corner of the evening for them. Derek McInnes, the rest of his coaching staff are all out. It's a poor corner, they took it short. Armstrong puts the pressure on, it's lumped back into the box, a high ball. Kilmarnock need to clear their lines. Breaks back to Froholt at the edge of the box. He had that huge opportunity just a minute or so before Watkins stuck the ball in the Copenhagen net. Here's a chance then for the visitors. Froholt has it, his cross takes a deflection over the bar, and it will be a corner kick down on this near side again for Copenhagen. They just had their first of the evening. They've got their second in quick succession. 19 on the clock. Kilmarnock leading 1-0. But as Cammy says, Lee, these are crucial moments.
Yeah, fantastic start, but you're always vulnerable just when you score a goal. And coming up for the second corner here since he scored the goal, look a little bit shaky. Stuart Findlay gave away the corner. I didn't think he needed to either, but here it's coming in.
Yeah, it's into the 6-yard area and it's headed away. I think the captain Vassell got his head onto that. There's a chance at the edge of the box, which is sliced and diced well by Elias Saturi, but it's actually taken another touch off a Killie player. That's why it went so dramatically wide, and they've got a third corner to try and keep the pressure on here.
They just need to weather the storm, Liam. This is when it's so important, their concentration's right. Make sure they don't give any cheap goals away from these set pieces.
Yeah, they're having to weather the storm here. Lopez, third opportunity, in swinger with the left, and it comes to the near post, flashed away there at the edge of the box. Then there's a shot from distance which takes another deflection and another Copenhagen corner. Kilmarnock have been pinned back against the ropes since scoring the goal. A crucial goal it was, scored by Marley Watkins. First of the season, he was their top scorer last term with 13. Here comes Lopez's fourth go at it, chipped towards the back post this time. Flicked away over there by Wright, and Kilmarnock get the clearance completed through Matty Kennedy on the far side. It's all the way back through to Nathan Trott, the Copenhagen keeper, who blasted it forward left-footed. That's a chest back there by Klassen on the far side. Well defended as Marcus Lopez tried to make inroads down the left-hand side, and Killie have it back with Armstrong. He gets himself across halfway. Steps on to the right, some really poor ball. He was looking for Lyons, he's given it away. And now it's Copenhagen in possession, and it's rolled out to Dix on this near side. Short ball into the centre circle for Falk, turns it out to the left for Lopez. Infield for El Yanusi. And back left of the centre circle, though Kelly have a man down, and the referee's going to stop play to allow attention to whoever it is that's gone down. I haven't seen who it was that was following the ball, Cammy.
I think it's Donnelly. Yeah, I think it was a challenge, and it was a really good challenge from Donnelly, but I don't know if it's just the way that he's collided with a Copenhagen player and went over. It looks possibly maybe a rolled ankle.
Yeah, Donnelly's an important player for Kilmarnock tonight, you feel. Combative midfielder. He and Brad Lyons have a very important role to play in that Kelly side, but there is going to be a stoppage in play here, and perhaps just allows us to take a breather from what's been fairly frenetic. Almost 22 minutes on the clock, and Kilmarnock leading on the night, trailing on aggregate, but they've given themselves a real shot at this, Lee McCulloch.
Yeah, it gives us a chance to take a break, a breath. I think the intensity in the game at times from Kilmarnock, with they're pressing forward, they're pressing high. I don't think Copenhagen looked comfortable. As Cammy says, they were like that. I wasn't at the first leg, but that's the clear game plan from Derek, and it seems to be working. They've scored a fantastic goal. They've had the perfect start. If they want to go through in this leg, they're going to need to continue to keep concentration and defend that goal. You've seen 4 or 5 corners in a row there, all back to back, and they just still look a little bit nervous. They need to get back to what they were doing at the start of the game, and that's pressing high. With Donnelly down at the moment, it might give David Watson a chance. Derek will be hoping that Donnelly is okay with the composure he brings to the game and the experience he's got in the game. He started really well. I think it is a rolled ankle. I just hope he's going to be okay for Kilmarnock's sake.
You know what it's likely when you score a goal, and such an important goal like that one, you're high, you're full of energy, you've got loads of emotion, so Kilmarnock just need to manage this little bit of the game here. They've had 4 corners, they've defended really, really well. They've got to just allow the game to flow again, and then the pressure will all go on to Copenhagen. They'll not have expected to be in this position after 23 minutes, Liam.
Absolutely, and it's something different for them to try and comprehend. Trailing on the night, having lost on Sunday, there will be doubts there, and it looks as though Kelly are going to have to make the change. David Watson's been ready down below us, so whilst Liam Donnelly looks like he wants to come back on, he's off the pitch at the moment. Kelly down to 10 temporarily. It's something they've had to deal with quite a lot recently, of course, the red cards. Donnelly's trying to stretch it out on the far side, but they are going to make the change as Falk goes long into the Kelly penalty area, and O'Hara sees it behind for the goal kick. We're on 24 minutes. Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 0.
It looks like Watson's coming on. It's certainly not like for like. Watson he's got energy, he's got enthusiasm. He just needs to play with his head tonight. He needs to have his concentration on. He needs to get back in defensive transition as quickly as he gets forward. He loves getting forward, he loves to get on the end of crosses. But tonight, he might just be asked just to sit there in front of the back 4.
Yeah, he's such an important player for Kilmarnock as a club, for his manager. As Kennedy looked like he was tripped there. The ref agrees. Free kick Kelly, left of the centre circle in the Copenhagen half. Now, it's a long game. They've given themselves a chance here by scoring that goal. They don't need to go hammer and tongs to find another one immediately. They'd love to score another one as soon as possible, of course, but they have to be canny. They've got to play this in a canny manner, Cammy.
Yeah, it's another set piece though, and they've just conceded from a set piece, so why not ask the question of that defence again? Get your big players up the pitch and ask the question of the Copenhagen defenders.
Armstrong again, left-footed into the penalty area, right-hand side. Vassell gets it across, and the goalkeeper holds on as it looked like it was going to drop underneath his crossbar. He'd Watson and Watkins looking to get on the end of it as well. These set plays are causing all manner of problems for Copenhagen so far in this game. 1-0 Kelly, 25 minutes played as Watkins wins it back brilliantly there, coming away from the opposition goal, pinches it back into his own half it goes, and it's shifted out to this near side where Stuart Findlay goes long, looking to get Vassell in behind. Vassell has it, Vavro comes out to meet him, wide on the left, looking to get to the byline, smashes it across, it just evades Watkins, comes to Armstrong, goalkeeper's not convincing, gets a touch onto it, and it goes out for a throw-in by the corner flag on the near side. The Kilmarnock fans are with this team right now. 26 in, they lead 1-0. They're looking for a sensational on-aggregate equaliser here.
A brilliant ball in the game from Armstrong, and it's Vassell, just a great header across. Very fortunate for Copenhagen, but they're just building on this pressure.
Long throw in by Watson's, decent, it's headed away in the 6-yard line, and then Achuri tries to work it into the path of Elyounoussi on the left, which he does, and Elyounoussi, challenge from Armstrong, can back off. Elyounoussi lasses the linesman on the far side. Quick throw in by Armstrong, gets it back immediately on the far side from Lyons. Forward to Vassell, the linesman's waving his flag frantically. It's bounced off Vassell's arm, and that will be a free kick to Copenhagen over on the far side. There is more than enough in this Kilmarnock performance so far to suggest that this, what looked like a mission impossible, could be doable, Lee McCullough.
I completely agree. I think the front four at Kilmarnock have looked a threat. Vassell running in behind, Watkins got his goal. Two wingers have been absolutely magnificent so far. I'm just not sure about Copenhagen's defensively. That they seem all over the place and letting runners run off them. They don't actually look mobile when Vassell's running in behind, but they always pose that threat up front. I think what a start. Kilmarnock have been by far the better team, but Copenhagen have still had some chances.
Yeah, and Achuri has it down the left as they do some attacking, this time level with the Kilmarnock penalty spot. Achuri twisting, he's turning, and he's putting it behind for the goal kick, and that'll do for Kelly. Gary McInnes down there, pointing the way, animated as ever, the Kilmarnock manager.
Yeah, good work there again from the defenders in Kilmarnock. Danny Armstrong all the way back there, making sure that he's not giving anything away. They work ever so hard, the two wingers as well. Kennedy and Armstrong, they're more than willing to go back the pitch, so they're so important in this game.
I mean, they've had to play the left and right wing-back positions, haven't they, at times, so they know that part of the job, and they're willing, as Cammy says, to do it, as that goes out for a Copenhagen throw-in on the far side, though Armstrong disagrees.
They look rattled, Copenhagen, they certainly do. I think Derek McInnes, when he said that worst nightmare, I think this is a perfect start for that.
I think that a lot of credit needs to go to the front four of Kilmarnock, and I agree with you. I think the back four look really nervous, as if they're fearful of the front two and the wide players, and Kilmarnock just need to keep this pressure up.
Well, they've managed to wipe out the stoppage time goal from last week, which looked as though it had done so much damage to the overall scoreline in this tie, and the chances of Kelly coming through and historically getting through to the Conference League. Had a lot of joy back in the day in the Fairs Cup. That wasn't an official UEFA competition, and they've never been beyond the first round of the UEFA competition. They've got some historic results in their past continental tournament play. The greatest ever result I mentioned earlier against Eintracht Frankfurt, who'd just been beaten by Real Madrid in the European Cup final just a few years earlier up the road at Hampden in the Fairs Cup. And they've had some excellent runs in that tournament, got to the semis, as well as Copenhagen come forward down the left, the little ball back across left-hand side of the box from Lopez is cut out, and Kilmarnock get it clear through Armstrong. Vassell wins the header, so important to Kelly for what they want to do, but Kyle Vassell's in the team, and he missed the Aberdeen game at the weekend as it's passed out to Armstrong, who goes down. The ref's not interested in giving him a free kick, but Elyounoussi gives it away. Ding ball forward there on the right by Joe Wright down the line, and it goes out of play. Is it a free kick or a throw-in that's been given? It's going to be a Kilmarnock ball anyway. I presume it's a throw-in given the way Watkins is protesting to the referee, because that's where the Kelly goal stemmed from, was a free kick over on that far side, but it is just a throw. Half an hour in, Kelly 1, Copenhagen 0 here at Rugby Park on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland. Hearts, Victoria Pilsen kicking off in about 12 minutes time, live on the BBC Scotland TV channel. Armstrong's long throw-in into the Copenhagen box is headed half away, breaks to the right of the penalty area. Joe Wright going after it, but it's going to be cleared. It's a poor clearance. Watson gets it back into the area, stabbed away by Pereira. Going into the midfield, Watson battling for it. Eventually it ricochets back into the Kilmarnock half, where Lewis Mayo goes back to his goalkeeper, and O'Hara dinks it with the right foot out to the far side, and the header forward's a good one up towards Watkins can't get onto it, and it's Lopez picking up the scraps for Copenhagen and rolling it infield, but they weren't too long on the ball, and they're not getting it from Kilmarnock tonight. This time the guilty party is Rasmus Falk, and Killie have won themselves a throw-in over on the far side. This has been an excellent first half by the Scottish team.
Brilliant from Kilmarnock, just that high press again, the energy they're playing with. Brad Lyons up, stealing the ball high up the pitch, which is gave them another opportunity to load the box.
He's taking it short this time though. He's going to get it back immediately though, is Danny Armstrong on that far side from Mayo. Looks to whip the cross in. It's a dangerous one, comes off a Copenhagen head, breaks to just outside the 6-yard line, and the bicycle kick effort from Vassell goes well past the left-hand post. And that would be a goal kick to the visitors. Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 0 on 32.
You can see Derek McInnes coming out when they get the throw-ins, when they get the set plays, just to take the time, set it up. They're that much of a threat. And even in the second phase of them, I just think Copenhagen look rattled.
You've got to keep this up, don't you? You've got to keep it up, and so far it's been an energetic performance by Killie. It was quite the opposite at Pittodrie at the weekend. They looked like a tired outfit after the energy-sapping performance in the Danish capital, as Kennedy picks up, rolls it down the line, and a misunderstanding with Lyons, and it goes out of play for a throw-in to the visitors on this near side. Cam,
it's brilliant though. You just watch Vassell there, he's holding two players off, one way he's left, one way he's right, and just takes it in on the chest and allows Kilmarnock to play with the ball. And these Copenhagen defenders know they're in for a game tonight.
Watkins heading it out to this near side. Kennedy trying to keep it in play, which he's done. Good shimmy, he's away from a couple of players, but then he comes back into the cul-de-sac and loses out, and it's going to be Froholt on the near side. Wins the throw-in. He has gone down, but I think a throw-in is what's been given. It is, and Dix pulls it into the midfield. Here's Elyounoussi. He's not playing as one of the front three at the moment. Mohamed Elyounoussi is playing slightly further back than that in the midfield. He's on it on that left-hand side. He rolls it into Klaassen, who gets it back over on that far side. It's now going to be a long ball into the Kilmarnock box, headed into the danger area, and Klaassen's header saved brilliantly by O'Hara. 6 yards out he was. Outstanding goalkeeping. And it's a corner, there was no offside. It will be a Copenhagen corner. You need your goalkeepers to come up with big saves and big nights, and that's one of them.
Yeah, massive save from O'Hara there. For me, he makes the right decision. It's one of them ones you can come out because it's hanging in there for a little bit. He stands his ground on his line, trusts his reaction, and what a brilliant right hand he throws out. Great save from O'Hara.
Looked like Klaassen was making it one apiece on the night. In comes the corner. It's headed away by Armstrong, I think, of all people. And it's knocked out by Achuri to that left-hand side. Lopez rolls it back to Froholt, who shifts it just outside the centre circle for Falk. Out to this right-hand side for Lair. Back the way to Dix. Rolls it right to left of the centre circle for Vavro. Out to Lopez. Low ball forward into the feet of Elyounoussi. Shifts it infield. Here's an opportunity for Lair. Back out to the right-hand side. Dix, it's a good ball in as well, and it bounces off the midriff of Mayo, I think it was, and behind for the corner. It's going to be another Copenhagen corner. They're up to 6 in the evening. Just over 10 minutes to the break. It's been taken short to Lopez. Guided back to the edge of the box for Vavro, shoots, and it's across the bows of O'Hara and wide of that right-hand post. And it stays Killie 1, Copenhagen 0. Just a couple of reminders there of the quality the Danes possess. But Kieran O'Hara, Lee McCullough, what an outstanding save that was. And that could be so important come the close of business tonight here in Ayrshire.
Yeah, Copenhagen just coming back into the game there, as you say, showing the class that they've got. What a save from O'Hara. It was a diagonal ball, headed down, midfield runner. I thought it was a goal. That for me, was world class.
Well, Cammy would have enjoyed that.
Cam would have caught that.
You throwing his cap on it. Cammy was talking to us earlier about playing for Queen of the South against the Danes, Norrköping, who beat Copenhagen at the weekend. It was a qualifier, of course. Queen's their only foray into European competition, having reached the Scottish Cup final the previous campaign. Cammy was on loan there from Killie, as that's rolled back left-hand side of the Kilmarnock box, but Achuri loses out. I think yourself and Jamie McDonald had spells at Queen of the South. Jamie McDonald had about 10 loans at Queen's.
Yeah, he did. I think Jamie was there the year before.
He was the cup final,
the cup
goalkeeper,
final,
yeah.
and then I went the season after and managed to get the European games, as you say. Great experience to play against such a big club, and again, I was saying to you before, Liam, I think that was my first TV game as well that BBC
was on the telly, yeah.
So yeah, great memories.
Did you do your hair especially for it because it was on the telly?
Always do my hair, mate.
16 years ago that was.
Was it?
Yeah. 2008. It will be a goal kick for Killie, who are 1-0 up here. O'Hara takes right-footed, sends it into the Kilmarnock half, but it's headed back across the halfway line. And this near side, that's excellent play by Matty Kennedy. He knew the challenge from Froholt was coming, knew he was going to get wiped out, but he also knew he was going to buy his team a free kick and take some of the pressure off the defence.
That's just what the wingers do. We spoke about it before. They'll work ever so hard. He knows he's going to get hit there, but gets his body in first, so he takes the hit and buys his team the free kick. But these are so important. These are big moments for Kilmarnock, because we've got 10 minutes before the first half finishes. Another opportunity to load the box.
It's in 37. There'll be a couple added, of course, because of the injury to Liam Donnelly. Had to go off, replaced by Watson, as the free kick from Armstrong comes to the edge of the box. It's headed away. Comes to no harm for Copenhagen this time, but it's gone out for a Killie throw-in over on the far side. There's not a lot wrong with this Killie performance tonight. Let me tell you, Derek McInnes will be very pleased with what he's seeing so far, and they are in this tie. They looked like they were out of it. Another loose ball at the back by Copenhagen. They're under duress more often than not, but that's a foul by Marley Watkins as he brings Dix crashing to the ground. That will be a free kick to Copenhagen just beyond the midway point of their own half. I think it's fair to say, if you'd asked Derek McInnes, why are they taking it in the centre circle? The ref's onto them. If you'd asked Derek McInnes before the match, would you be quite happy to be 1-0 up come half-time? He'd have absolutely taken that.
100% he'd have taken that. It gives them a chance, it gets the fans behind them, and then you've got... He mentioned that in his pre-match, where it was a game of two halves, obviously, the old-fashioned saying, but if they get in at half-time would be tremendous. They've had a little bit of luck, but I think they need to keep pressure on the back four, because for me, again, I'll repeat myself, they don't look convincing to me.
For me, they're due that luck after the penalty last week. We need to reflect on it. Was a penalty until around about 74 minutes when they got the penalty. Kilmarnock were absolutely in this game, and it's actually played out very, very similar to last week.
Killie scoring the goal through Marley Watkins, which has raised hopes and expectations as Findlay sees it out for a throw-in on this near side, midway inside their own half. Burrows to take.
Last week this Copenhagen team got booed off at half-time, and that's just where they're at the moment. I don't think they're fully clicking as a club, and obviously we're reflecting on them being in the last 16 of the Champions League in March against Manchester City, but they're miles away from that at the moment.
Yeah, they're generally there or thereabouts when it comes to the European club tournaments, though, aren't they? They're currently 44th in the UEFA club coefficient table, sandwiched between PSV and Rennes. There's a referee stops play. There's a Copenhagen player down. At the moment, the referee has come over to make sure he's all right. Not sure exactly what went on there, but it's going to be another stoppage in play. I think it's number 12, Lair, who is on the deck. That's El Yunusi, number 10. And he's just beginning to get himself back to his feet. You can see his number now. Brad Lyons standing beside him.
I think Lee's got to describe this one for us.
It looked a sore one. It get hit with the ball right in the jewels.
Got you. I missed that.
He seems okay now, though.
Yeah.
He's still have that pain, though.
Yeah, he's back to his feet. Mohamed El Yunusi. Back-to-back loan spells at Celtic from Southampton. Eventually, after a long period on the books, the South Coast team made the move to the Danish capital. Kilmarnock supporters don't think the referee knows
I don't understand
where they stopped play.
But Kilmarnock had possession of the ball when he stopped play, so
he's giving it straight to Copenhagen.
Yeah, Armstrong had the ball, didn't he? I don't know what referee's thinking there.
I'm sure if he had blown the whistle before Armstrong took possession. But anyway, Findlay's header across halfway into the Copenhagen half, Dix with a header into the centre circle. Knocked back the way by Achuri. Just outside the circle for Falk, out to Lopez on the left. Falk gets it back. And then to Lopez, just a couple of minutes away from kick-off at Tynecastle Park. Hearts against Victoria Pilsen. Hearts conceded late last week as well. We'll keep you bang up to date with that one. It's also live on the BBC Scotland TV channel. Copenhagen come down the left-hand side of the Kilmarnock box. Good challenging again though. Kilmarnock have defended well. It's Joe Wright this time. And out on the far side, Vassell's gone down. No free kick. You can hear again the Killie fans over there. Not impressed as the referee waves away the appeals. Copenhagen switch it out to the right for Dix and then shift it infield for Lair to the edge of the centre circle and then out to the left of it for Pereira. Forward to Achuri, shows too much of it to Watkins. Combination of he and Lyons win it back. It's a long ball forward. Watkins gives chase. It's not going to get there though. And then it goes out of play for a throw in to the visitors over there. We're on 42 minutes now. Killie 1, Copenhagen 0, and 2-1. The Danes lead on the aggregate scoreline. They lost out on the title last season, finished third actually, hence their Conference League participation. And the champions Midtjylland, who won it for just a fourth time, just formed in 1999, but they've put it up to Copenhagen over the course of the last couple of decades. 15-time Danish champions, a joint record in Denmark, as Dix picks up on this near side and shifts it back to Vavro. Vavro right of the centre circle. He's been in Scotland before. He was on the bench at Hampden for a Nations League game a few years ago. And this Copenhagen pick up down the left. It's a really poor ball though. Misunderstanding as Gabriel Pereira's ball goes out of play for a throw-in deep inside Kilmarnock territory over there on the far side. Just the last knock-ins of the first half here. Kilmarnock looking to, at the very least, get up the tunnel at half-time with a clean sheet here, and then they can build their way into the second half and try and, at the very least, force extra time tonight.
Yeah, I think Derek McInnes will be just wanting half-time to come so he can readdress any small details he wants to put across to his players. Also allow his players to gain a breath, because it's been frantic and loads of energy's put into this first half, so he'll just be hoping the half-time whistle comes very soon.
I think the Kilmarnock high press has put Copenhagen under pressure. See, when it's not there, when Kilmarnock are not pressing high, Copenhagen look very good going forward. They look capable of getting a goal. That's why they need to keep this high pressure or come straight off the game and let the centre-halves have the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Kilmarnock, as good a performance as it's been, they've relied on Froholt missing a sitter and Kieran O'Hara producing a magnificent save to keep out Klassen.
I think when you're at this top level of competition, Liam, you're going to need your goalkeeper to make unbelievable saves to get through. You're also going to have to ride your luck as well, and that, as I said before, I think Kilmarnock are due a little bit of luck with that penalty decision last week.
This game on at Tynecastle, Hearts Pilsen. Hearts trailing 1-0. A couple of minutes into that one. As I said, it's on the BBC Scotland television channel, so you can have that on and you can listen to this one, and you've got both games covered. Throw in Copenhagen, level with the edge of the centre circle on this near side. Kevin Dix gets it back, then sweeps it to Pereira, who then runs up to the halfway line. 3 minutes added on at the end. We're into the first. Kennedy misses the ball on the far side as the cross comes into the Kilmarnock box, headed away by Watson. Achuri waits in the middle. El Yanusi is there too. Little ball from Lopez. Finds Achuri at the byline, left hand side of the Kilmarnock box. Rolled back the way. Killie trying to push out as Falk switches it right up the centre circle here for Vavro. It's ball to Klassen, back to Vavro. Vassell comes to meet him. And Killie skipper, and he's forced Vavro back the way. That's what he intended. And here come Copenhagen again. Lopez fires it into the feet of El Yanusi. He's on the turn, now he's facing the goal. Forced wide left of the box. Turns it back out wide. Little chip ball into the box is a decent one. It's a really important flick away by Findlay. It has gone for the corner, but it looked like that might cause much more trouble than it ultimately did. Killie 1, Copenhagen 0. First half stoppage time. The Danes lead 2 on an aggregate, and they have a corner on this near side.
Yeah, just what I was talking about. When they're not get that high press, when Copenhagen get the other side of that high press, they look good. They're playing in little pockets, they're playing 1-2s, they look a threat for the wide areas. They've put a great cross in there, and Stuart Findlay, right in his tiptoes, what a great header, defensive header, put it out for a corner.
In comes the corner, it's towards the back post, beaten away by the 2 fists of Kieran O'Hara, and away out of the head of Kennedy for a Copenhagen throw-in on the far side. Half of the stoppage time's come and gone. Kilmarnock just trying to see this through to the break. 1-0 up on the night.
Yeah, just reflecting on Findlay's header, it was a brilliant header because 2 players behind him and he needed to get something on it, managed to do that.
Copenhagen have it. Lopez wide in the left. Elyounoussi with the movement in the box. Lopez elects to roll it back the way to Pereira, who finds Vavro in the centre circle. Kilmarnock don't have much longer to see it out as Lyons adjudged to has fouled his man in the midfield. It's Lucas Lair who's gone down, and the referee seemed fairly certain. I'm not sure the Killie supporters agreed with that decision. As Pereira rolls it to Lopez, looks up, left-footed cross, takes a deflection. It's knocked clear by Findlay. And then Kennedy, and he's turned back into trouble. He's been ransacked. It's the edge of the area. Little ball towards Elyounoussi. It's blocked and cleared. It's only half away though. Still an opportunity. It's a deflected effort which goes past for a corner. It's a Churi shot. The Kilmarnock supporters howling their derision at the Bulgarian referee. But it went Copenhagen's way, and you've got to, until you hear the whistle, you've got to continue to play until that happens.
Yeah, I think Derek McInnes coming out there, Matty Kennedy, he should just be putting it in the corner for me, just clearing it, clear your lines, but there's 2 or 3 round him. He's tried to take a touch, got dispossessed.
In comes the corner, last chance of the first half. It's towards the back post, an unmarked man heads it back across. It was Dix, headed half away, rifled for goal by Achuri, blocked. Kilmarnock get it away. It's only half clear. Lopez replayed the 3 minutes. Derek McInnes with his arms outstretched. Elyounoussi has it. Chip ball comes into Dix. He's unmarked. He volleys for goal, and O'Hara makes another magnificent save. Amidst the booing from the home supporters who think the first half's over, it is now as Derek McInnes sprints up the narrow Rugby Park tunnel below us. Well, they've had to survive an onslaught at the end of the first half there of Kilmarnock, but O'Hara is justifying his inclusion in the Kilmarnock starting 11 right now. 2 world-class saves, and you do not say that lightly. The first from Klassen, the second one the Dix volley, which he threw himself at to claw it away to safety. Froholt should have scored for Copenhagen earlier in the first half as well. He was regretting not doing so. It would have put them 3-0 up in aggregate. But Marley Watkins popped up with an so crucial goal to give Kilmarnock a foothold in this tie. People said it was over. Well, at half-time in Ayrshire, try telling that to the 8,000 Kilmarnock supporters, because the half-time scoreline in the second leg of this Conference League playoff is Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 0, and 2-1 to the Danes in aggregate.
Kilmarnock in the UEFA Conference League playoff round.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Escape with a good book on BBC Sounds, like Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwong.
I play up our connection. My grief over her death becomes a cornerstone of my origin story.
Enlightenment by Sarah Perry.
Thomas examined the image of a stone woman stuck on the verges of the lake. I suppose she's in the water now. What is she holding?
And Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin.
Do you have a mistress? I asked him. I don't seem to be very interested in women right now.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We have a double helping of European football action for you this evening. We'll cross to Tynecastle shortly. 7 minutes on the clock there, goalless between Hearts and Victoria Pilsen. But our main event this evening is a commentary match from Rugby Park as Killie go in search of a place in the Conference League, and you'd have to say, Tom English, it's very much game on. It's been a cracking match, hasn't it?
Excellent, yeah, it's excellent. I mean, you know, Kilmarnock, for say, the first 35 minutes were terrific. They made life really, really hard for Copenhagen. They pressed them relentlessly and in numbers. They put a huge amount of energy into it. They got the goal. It was a scrappy old thing, but it was a terrible beauty. And I would imagine the stadium came alive. So this is the kind of performance that Derek McInnes has been looking for. You know, they're the underdogs, but they're having a real crack. My concern is that they put so much into the first 35 minutes or so. Do they have the energy to see it through? Because in the last 10 minutes, they've been dropping deeper. Copenhagen have been making chances. Obviously, they had very early on through Froholt, they had a fantastic chance and they missed it. But then we've had two outstanding saves from Kieran O'Hara, from Klassen, and then from Dix right at the end. That's a little bit concerning. Is that a sign that Killie's energy levels are dropping? If that's the case, then they've got a problem. But for the first 35 minutes or so, I thought they were terrific.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the game. Just looking at the match stats, as you said, Tom, they come under a fair bit of pressure, certainly towards the close of that half. They're 72% possession for the away side. 7 shots for Killie, 8 for Copenhagen, 4 on target for Derek McInnes' men, 2 on target for Copenhagen, and these 2 shots, my goodness, as Tom said, they brought out 2 wonderful saves from O'Hara. We'll get more from the guys. We'll give them a wee break, Cammy and Lee there at Rugby Park. Let's switch our focus to Tynecastle Park in Edinburgh, and a huge night also for Stephen Naismith's Hearts. They're up against Victoria Pilsen. The prize there, a place in the Europa League, trailing 1-0 from the first half, the very early stages of the second leg. Brian McLaughlin is there for us. What's happening, Brian?
Yeah, 10 minutes played, Kenny. It's still Harmelode 0, Victoria Pilsen 0. But Hearts have certainly started the match on the front foot, far more aggressive in the press than they have been in recent weeks. Just a one-half chance so far. Gerald Taylor, a good move down the right-hand side, has turned it into his left foot. His shot was weak, it was blocked. The ball fell to Cammy Devlin 16 yards out. He fired over. There is an injury at the moment to the Gerald Taylor. He's down after an attack by Pilsen a few moments ago. He's up on his feet now. He's hobbling about. Hearts won't want to replace him so early on in the game. 10.5 minutes played here at Tynecastle. A terrific atmosphere inside this stadium. Of course, Hearts made the change. No Lawrence Shankland tonight, so it's Vargas and Boyce who are leading the line for the Tynecastle club. They badly need goals. Oh, how they could do with some of those tonight. Still Hearts 0, Victoria Pilsen 0.
Yeah, Brian, we can hear the atmosphere coming through there. We know just what that place is like. It's a terrific atmosphere generated at Tynecastle. Just looking as well to the small ultras group just behind the goal there. A lot of young people there. They play a big part in that, don't they?
Massive, Kenny, and I think that's something that's happening at a number of clubs. I know Hibs as well have their ultras now, but yeah, they've been in discussions with Hearts for the last couple of years. They managed to get their section behind the goal that's being defended by Craig Gordon at the Gorgie Road end of the club. The Gorgie Ultras banner is there. They did a lovely tifo before the game as well. So yeah, they're here in numbers. The drums are going, the fans are here in numbers. There's a fantastic atmosphere inside the stadium, and the roof would come off this place. All Hearts need is a goal for that to happen.
Yeah, let's hope they can get. We'll hear from Stephen Naismith later in the programme. If that game doesn't go to extra time, we've got a couple of Hearts fans lined up just to get their thoughts on the game tonight. I know they're both at the match, and also just overall, Tom will get their thoughts, because I'm not in any way talking about a job situation, but you just feel it's quite a big night for Stephen Naismith. It's been a slow start to the season. We know he's got his doubters, despite doing terrifically well last campaign, signing a new contract recently, but you just feel this could kick them on if they get a big result tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And, big result, performance, a goal or two wouldn't go amiss because they've been in short supply. Just something that's a bit convincing, because they've been unconvincing. Changing of formation, as we said, I think a lot of the Hearts fans were kind of. Last season, they were an angry crowd.
We've quite a few of them in the programme, Tom.
Quite a few of them in the programme. They got turned around, and the team did well. A lot of that was down to Shankland, as we said earlier. A lot of it was down to Shankland, and there's no getting away from that. But they got third. It was a decent enough third. But you're looking for better this season, and they've signed a lot of players, they have a big squad. But it hasn't happened for them so far. And I think there is pressure from the fans on the manager. I'm not sure if that extends to inside the club. I doubt it does so far, but he needs to remind everybody that he's got this.
Yeah.
And this would be a good start today.
Yeah, 0-0 there at Tynecastle. 13 minutes played. As soon as there is any action, as soon as there's a goal, we'll hear from Brian McLaughlin, our reporter there, and we will hear from Stephen Naismith post-match. A big evening for Hearts there through in Edinburgh. Also a big evening, you'd have to say, in Kilmarnock at Rugby Park tonight. And Cammy Bell, so far, Derek McInnes' side doing the business.
Yeah, so far so good, Kenny. It's been a fantastic first half from Killie. They started really well. We've spoke about how well they've pressed high up the pitch, and Lee mentioned it a number of times in commentary how key that is for Killie. When they press Copenhagen looked really, really uncomfortable, and that was the same in the first leg as well. If you watch the first leg back, when Killie pressed high, Copenhagen gave away possession cheaply. It's been very, very similar here. They've played with so much energy. I agree with what Tom's saying, that hopefully it's not the energy they've used in that first half that has been sucked out of them. They're going to need the exact same energy in the second half to get anything from this game. But what a position they've put themselves in. They've been fantastic as well. You've got to give full credit to Killie and their players, and also Kieran O'Hara's made two massive saves.
Yeah, talk to us about that, Camby, because I asked you last week and he did a fine job in the away leg. I spoke to you about this before the game. Robbie McCrory, I think a slight niggle on the bench tonight, but these two saves, just talk to us about what's required from a goalkeeper in these two instances.
Yeah, well, certainly watching from the stands here, it looked as if the first one was potentially one you can get drawn towards, because it's a kind of looping header towards the oncoming midfield runner. But again, he's stood firm. He's knowing his reaction's going to have enough, and it was a huge hand to his right hand side to get it away. And listen, the second one's a phenomenal save, certainly from where I'm sitting. It was right across. He's caught the volley brilliantly, and again, just his reactions to get his hand up and strong enough to make sure that goes wide of the goal. Brilliant saves. As Liam mentioned in commentary, world-class saves, certainly from where we're sitting.
Yeah, listen, and we've seen the replays in here, absolutely terrific, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, that one from Klassen, the close-range header, was a really wonderful save. Now, that said, Copenhagen have won 2 headers in the Kilmarnock box. Mm-hmm. You can't keep doing that and relying on O'Hara to keep making these world-class saves. And they are. I mean, I agree with the boys. They're outstanding saves. And they can thank the goalkeeper for the fact that it's 1-0. But, you know, I think if O'Hara was less busy in the second half, that's good news for Kilmarnock, because here's another one. Now, here's the volley. I mean, Dix has caught that so sweet. And it's a brilliant save. Kilmarnock have, by and large, defended really well in this game. And when they've lost a bit of concentration, they've allowed a bit of space. Their goalkeeper has been there to bail them out. You'd like to see them go back on the offensive at the start of the second half, because certainly the last 10 minutes, Copenhagen were all over them.
Lee, you've been talking throughout commentary about the importance of the press from Kilmarnock this evening. Obviously something that they'll work on throughout the week. Just talk to us about how that works actually on the park. Are there certain triggers for that? Because if one person doesn't go, that obviously creates a problem.
Yeah, and the trigger is that they all go together, and I think it's any ball back to centre halves or square balls out to centre halves from the goalkeeper. Watkins and Vassell are just on them. They're on the centre halves and they're making them really uncomfortable. That would bring Lyons and Watson up, or Donnelly at the time at the start of the game, up on them, and then the back four needs to come up. So they're pressing all out in the opposition half from a Kilmarnock point of view. Kennedy and Armstrong have been unbelievable, and Thomas spot on. They've been getting forward, whipping crosses in the box. They've been getting back, doubling up with the full-backs. They work great. I just don't know if they'll be able to keep this going for another 45-50 minutes the second half. Who knows, maybe even injury time. But the energy in the press has been brilliant. I think it's made Copenhagen look very ordinary at the back. Kilmarnock are a real threat at set plays. I think they get their third free kick. Derek McInnes comes shouting out to say, take your time, set it up. They know they've got them in set plays, so they're a real threat for set plays as well. But Copenhagen, after they get over that press, they've got some good players in that final third. They've got Pasty Burn out wide. They've got Trickery. Elanusi has come into the game the last 15 minutes, spot on what Tom was saying. They've got match winners in there. They should have scored, albeit O'Hara, two magnificent saves. So it'll be interesting to see how we start the second half. Are we going to go 4-4-2 all-out press, just like we started the game, thinking that we're going to sustain it for the full 45-50 minutes, as I mentioned? And I'm saying we, as in Kilmarnock.
Absolutely.
This is the thing. I think it goes back to this. You know, do Kilmarnock have it in their lungs to keep this going? Because the boys are right. Copenhagen look uncertain at the back. Kilmarnock have asked a load of questions. They've done everything that McInnes would have wanted them to do. They've asked lots of questions, and Copenhagen are struggling to deal with them when they're on the attack. So there's uncertainty at the back of Copenhagen. If Killy can get a second wind and keep going at them, there's probably more joy for them. I think it's a really fascinating contest now. And fair play to Killy for putting themselves in this position. I didn't think they would, but they have. They've given themselves a real shot.
Could be a long night both in Kilmarnock and in Edinburgh. Let's get back to Tynecastle and join our reporter Brian McLaughlin. Either side taking command of this one, Brian?
Not really, no. Still Hearts trying to be on the front foot, Kenny, but there's just a few moments ago a half a chance for the Czechs. Pavel Šulc. Again, it was after Hearts gave the ball away, and it's been the trait, over the last few weeks. That's what they've been doing. And Pavel Šulc had a chance, but 25 yards from goal, but he fired over. The Czechs on the offensive at the moment, but yeah, the ball's cleared away up front as well. But I think Kenneth Vargas and Liam Boyce are going to be big players tonight. This referee as well is from Bulgaria, Georgi Kabakov. I think he may well have something to play tonight, a fair bit of to play in this game tonight. He took charge of an Antwerp Rangers game a few years ago and gave 3 penalties in the match. Now the balls have not been into the box so much so far, certainly no challenges in the box to speak of, but yeah, Georgi Kabakov his name, and we'll find out exactly if he fancies a penalty shootout tonight or not later on. But at the moment, Hearts on the attack. A few boos coming from the fans over on the Wheatfield side, but that's down to the referee not awarding Hearts a free kick. But on the offensive at the moment, they've been much better tonight than they have been in recent weeks. And as I said earlier on, Kenny, all we need is a goal.
Yeah, he could have his hands full, as Brian said. They're just seeing the pictures coming in. Vargas getting slammed against the advertising boards there. So full-on feisty, as you'd expect. So much to play for in that game, as is the case through at Rugby Park. Let's get back to our commentary team there this evening. So far, so good for Derek McInnes' side. Can they complete the job? My goodness, what a fantastic night that would turn out to be for Kilmarnock Football Club. Let's get back to Cammy Bell, Lee McCulloch and Liam McLeod.
Well, they're certainly making a fist of it, aren't they? Derek McInnes tried and tried and tried again on 7 occasions to get Aberdeen into a European tournament proper. Losing out to Real Sociedad, Kairat, Maribor, Apollon Limassol, Burnley, Rijeka, Sporting Club of Lisbon. Back before the recent coefficient purple patch, which has meant that there is automatic tournament football for some. Not so much for the side that finished 4th in the Premiership, and Kilmarnock having to do it the hard way here. But 45 minutes, can they at least force extra time? They'll go left to right as we watch from the back of the main stand in their blue and white stripes. And then the game's underway. Watkins back to Watson, and then out to Kennedy, low ball on the far side. It comes back to Findlay. No further changes for Killy at the break, none for Copenhagen yet. The Danes rocked by that Watkins goal that separates the sides on the night, but as it stands, not enough for Kilmarnock to even force extra time, which they would absolutely have taken before a ball was kicked this evening. It's out for a throw-in to the home team on the far side as they shoot left to right towards the Moffat stand end of Rugby Park, if you know the stadium. If you don't, they've got a fancy new boxes up there, corporate boxes I think it is, off to the right, the Chadwick stand where the visiting fans normally are up the other end. Here come Kilmarnock down this right hand side with Joe Wright, level with the 6-yard line. He's got support from Watson if he wants him. Wright still has it down the right hand side, but he can't find a teammate and he can't provide the sort of wing play that you would want to see from a winger, but you're not going to see it from a centre back, and it's out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Liam. That was a bit of a centre half high on the wing there. But I think what's going to be so important in this second half is the first 25 minutes. If Kilmarnock can stay in the game and stay within that one goal, yes, they'll want the second goal, but as soon as it starts to hit the 70-75 minute mark, Copenhagen will be looking at that clock and the scoreboard, knowing they've got enough in the tank, and that just could mean they can sit deeper and deeper, and Kilmarnock will just throw more balls into the box.
Stoppage in play down there for some reason. The referee is chatting to a couple of Copenhagen players, and he's now speaking to Kyle Vassell. And Killie captain has some kind of problem with the VAR system. I think the communication isn't there, going by the motions of the referee. So we've seen this recently in Scotland, where they've spoken to both managers and asked if they're okay to continue without the video assistant for a period of time. I'm not sure if that's UEFA protocol, but we shall see. But just to underline the difference in experience of the two clubs in European competition, this is Kilmarnock's 48th European match. This is Copenhagen's 266th. They're a team that has regularly contested European football. The deepest they've gone was the quarter-finals of the Europa League in 2019-20. They were narrowly beaten by Manchester United, 1-0 on aggregate, having knocked Celtic out in the last 32 that season. Last season they were second in their Champions League section behind Bayern Munich, but they were ahead of Manchester United and Galatasaray. So really good return for them in the what was the final edition of the Champions League, and indeed European club competitions with group stages. They've already come through 2 ties to get to this stage, beating Magpies of Gibraltar 8-1 in aggregate, and the Czech side Baník Ostrava on penalties. It's game on again here. I'm not sure if the VAR issue's been completely resolved, but the game's on, and it's Copenhagen. Flicked header down the right flank there by Dix. It breaks all the way through here to Mayo, who can turn it back to O'Hara, who's been as much of a star as Marley Watkins has. Watkins the goal scorer, but O'Hara with 2 magnificent saves to keep the Copenhagen side of the scoreboard blank for now. O'Hara out to Lyons, and a misunderstanding between the two of them. Lyons had run forward, O'Hara passed the ball back, and it's a costly unforced error in what is the Copenhagen attacking third here.
Yeah, thankfully it's just gone out for a throw-in, but I think O'Hara's touch just got caught a little bit underneath his foot, and his only option was to play it to this side. He was looking for his full-back there, but he wasn't.
No full-back. Lyons wasn't there either, but Kilmarnock get the break of the ball, and Vassell surely tripped to the ground. Yes, he was, and the yellow card is produced to Lucas Leyer as well. I don't think there was any doubt it was in the professional foul category. So free kick to Kilmarnock, right of the centre circle. 4 second-half minutes played, 1-0 Killie here. They trail 2-1 in aggregate, still goalless at Tynecastle. Hearts trail 1-0 to Victoria Pilsen on aggregate, and Kilmarnock of this free kick right of the centre circle. Armstrong's over it, rolls it low out to Kennedy. Armstrong going on the overlap here. Kennedy uses him as a decoy. Crossball comes into the area, it might break Vassell's way. Shoots, saved by the foot there of Trott, and behind for a throw-in down by the corner flag it goes. Armstrong takes it quickly to Kennedy. Back to Armstrong, gets himself some space. Good chip ball in. It's headed half away and lashed high over the bar in the volley by David Watson from the edge of the D. It's a goal kick to Copenhagen. It's 1-0 to Kilmarnock as they look for a sensational aggregate equaliser.
Comes to a set play again, Liam. They took it quickly just to change the angle. I think it was a little bit too central, and it's sort of second phase from it. Vassell, he's unlucky with an near post shot. It's a good save from the goalkeeper, but it just shows you it only takes a set play.
Copenhagen have it on that right hand side. It's stabbed forward by Froholt into the box, and it almost broke Aturi's way. Klassen actually did well to slide in and put it back across the 6-yard line, and it's back in the gloves of O'Hara.
Yeah, good goalkeeping from O'Hara. You can see he's made the call early, takes control of the situation and collects. But again, you can see the energy Danny Armstrong's playing with. He's whipped the ball. He's made the run from the free kick. I think it was Kennedy put the ball in the box. He goes out for a throw and he just wants the ball back in play. Gets on his left foot, puts a brilliant ball in the box. So he's continuously asking questions of this Copenhagen defence.
Header away there by Pereira. Kilmarnock get the ball into the attacking third. It's in the midfield. Klassen's header is given away, and now it's picked up on that left-hand side, but it's a poor attempted pass forward there by Burrows. He's trying to redeem himself, but he's lost out to Froholt's bounding down the right-hand side of the Kilmarnock box. He wins the corner, but no, he hasn't actually. Goal kick's been given. And Burrows breathes a sigh of relief, though he did well to get himself back into a position where he was able to ensure it went behind for the goal kick there, having given it away in the first place.
Yeah, I thought potentially he was going to give the fall away around about the halfway line and just take one for the team, but he got fortunate. Again, it's rebounded back off the Copenhagen player, but you just see his work right back, determination not to allow anything to come into Kilmarnock's box.
And the drive through the town earlier on, the flags and banners hanging outside the pubs and the cafes. They do not want this European adventure to end. Trips to Bruges and Tromsø will live long in the memory for those who were there. They want more. Of course, Copenhagen last week as well, the result wasn't in their favour, but again, 3 terrific European excursions for the Kilmarnock supporters. Are there to be another 3 and 6 matches in the new Conference League? 3 here, 3 away, and the goalkeeper was almost caught there. Trott, he tried to take an extra touch and eventually gets it away under pressure from Watkins, and then there's a foul down below us by Lewis Mayo, and that's going to be a free kick to Copenhagen over on this near side, midway inside their own half, almost on 53. Killie 1, Copenhagen 0, and still 2-1 to the Danes on aggregate.
Yeah, the game settled pretty quickly in this half. I don't think Kilmarnock are pressing with the intensity they were. Copenhagen have not that quality at the top end of the pitch yet.
Not yet, yeah. And it's Achuri trying to provide it on the near side. Rolls it back to Lopez, midway inside Kilmarnock territory. Here's El Yunusi, manages to hold off Armstrong and passes it back to Falk, and now into his own half. Pereira, left of the centre circle, fires it through to Froholt. Gets it under control out to the right-hand side. The cross comes in from Dix, and it's headed wildly wide by Klassen, and that will be a goal kick to Kilmarnock in front of that band of Copenhagen supporters who've made the trip to Ayrshire. 53.5 on the clock, 1-0 Killie on the night.
A better bit of play from Copenhagen there. Pereira just plays into Froholt, who gets in that sort of 10 position, then plays out wide and it's delivered into the box. Yes, he gets his header all wrong and doesn't cause Kilmarnock any problems, but a better passage of play from Copenhagen.
It's the 4th time Copenhagen have come up against Scottish opposition. They've played Celtic a couple of times in the Champions League in 06-07, in the last 32 of the Europa League in 2020, and of course humbled by Aberdeen 4-0 at Pittodrie in the old UEFA Cup group stage. Way back in 2007 now. And that was a Copenhagen side that had been contesting Champions League matches and had beaten Manchester United the previous season. So they have lost on Scottish soil before. Celtic have had positive results against them as well. Derry McInnes with a lovely touch, actually. He still got it down this near side. The long ball came out, went out for a throw-in. Lovely little touch with the left, up onto his head, and he heads it straight to El Yunusi, who shook his hand after it.
He must not have meant that. I know El Yunusi over to say, yeah, well done.
Fair play. Pereira's header to his central defensive partner Vavro. Low ball out to the right for Dix. Scored the penalty last week that gave Copenhagen a 1-0 lead. Falk made it 2-0. Watkins has brought Killie right back into it. But here come Copenhagen down the left. It's Achuri on the left foot. There's a attempted cross cut out by Wright and behind for yet another Copenhagen corner. 10 into the second half.
Yeah, you can see Copenhagen just getting into their stride in this half. They're taking a little bit more control. They've had a lot more play in the Kilmarnock defensive third, so yeah, they just need to defend this corner.
They'll be taking on this left-hand side, outswinger from Lopez into the 6-yard area. It's headed away by Vassell. Falk gets it under control over on the far side. Rolls it back to Froholt. He's got loads of space here, too much perhaps. The shot's blocked though by Burrows. Breaks onto halfway. The Kilmarnock players perhaps not quite as quick to get forward and chase their men down as they were in the first half. Expended so much energy, and they've got to take into account that they want to be pressing and pushing for an equaliser and an aggregate as this second half wears on. Potentially extra time on top of that too. It's in the centre circle here, and Vavro rolls it out to the left for Lopez. With Dennis Vavro, Lopez has gone down off the ball. There was a challenge from Danny Armstrong, I think it was. In fact, Armstrong's going to be yellow carded for it. The Copenhagen left wing back is down, just getting himself back to his feet at the moment. Armstrong continuing to protest his innocence to the Bulgarian referee Gijenov.
I don't know how much was in that one, Liam. Again, he was late. He's left a little bit on. I think the Copenhagen players made the most of it. It looked like the fourth officials actually made that decision for the referee, being closer to him. So
it's a very interesting tie, this now, as it is at Tynecastle. Coverage continuing. Hearts 0, Pilsen 0 on the BBC Scotland TV channel. Hearts trailing 1-0 in aggregate. Kilmarnock a goal down in aggregate as well. It is Copenhagen in possession, Klassen back into the centre circle. First time ball fired forward there by Lairds. First time ball out wide right for Dix. Then to Laird again, just at the edge of the penalty area, forces it into the box. Achuri left of the 6-yard area, doesn't get a great first touch. Still has it though, rolls it back to Lopez. Now it's with El Yanusi. El Yanusi on his right foot, low ball side footed out to Achuri, level with the Kilmarnock penalty spot. Brilliantly defended by Joe Wright, gets his foot onto it, finds Watkins, but he gives it straight back to Copenhagen. Falk with the disguised ball in field. Lear then out to Lopez, a little bit short with that, but Vavro gets onto it and finds Pereira, and then out to Lopez. First time ball in field. They're looking for Falk. First time ball forward to Achuri. It bounces off a Kilmarnock boot and out for a Copenhagen throw-in. Run about the halfway line down in front of the main stand here. Daylight fading in Ayrshire. Kilmarnock's Conference League hopes very much alive and kicking at the moment, but it's been a better performance from the visitors in this second half. And they've got a chance here. Dix driving up to the edge of the box. His ball in field, not a good touch by Klassen. Kelly get it half away. There's Lopez. You can feel the tension in the air here as Copenhagen give it away, and now David Watson is striding forward, driving forward deep into the Copenhagen half. He has it. Couldn't get the pass away, but it breaks back to him fortuitously. Rolls it out to the left-hand side for Kennedy. Kennedy level with the penalty spot, loses it, and Copenhagen come away with it. And a big switch out to Achuri on this left-hand side. Achuri rolling it forward down the left-hand side. It's for El Yanusi. Achuri goes away on the overlap, the Tunisian. Instead, though, it's still at the feet of the Norwegian El Yanusi, who rolls it back to Pereira and then to Vavro. It's all Copenhagen right now as far as the possession of the football is concerned. Within the 60th minute, still Killie 1, Copenhagen 0. 2-1 in aggregate.
I'm just wondering whether Derek will look to make a change to get a little bit of energy into the team. Copenhagen dominating the ball. Kilmarnock in a sort of low block.
A man down. Vassell's gone down. Free kick Kilmarnock left of the centre circle in their own half. But Lee's right, they're not getting up the pitch as much as they were in the first half, Cammy.
No, they're not. And again, what the difference is from the first half. Copenhagen, yes, had a lot of possession in the first half, but they haven't possession in Kilmarnock's half. Again, so that Kilmarnock are defending for long periods of times, and we know what happens when you defend for long periods against quality opposition. They eventually get that opportunity and they take it. So Kilmarnock, yes, they just need to be a little bit disciplined in the next 5-10 minutes. Try and get a little bit of control back in this game.
Killie free kick, lofted high into the box, and it's beaten away by the goalkeeper, who came through all his defenders there to the 18-yard line to punch it away, Nathan Trott. And then it goes out for a Kilmarnock throw-in over on the far side level with the edge of the centre circle on the Killie left. Lee was talking about Kilmarnock making changes. I saw the Copenhagen staff talking to some of their subs that are warming up off to our left. So I think changes are afoot for the visitors in the next minute or two. And it's back at the feet of Kieran O'Hara. At least hasn't been tested to the extent he was in the first half in what's been a better second half by Copenhagen. Long ball, one in the air by Wright, heads it towards the right angle of the box. Copenhagen get it half away. Picked up by Lyons. Moves it back from right of the centre circle to the halfway line for Findlay. Now Mayo gets it back, and then a panicky looking ball out to Findlay in the left. He's found him though. And it's rolled back to O'Hara at the edge of his own box. Long ball out to this near side. Wright gets something onto it. Armstrong now gets his foot onto it. Finds Watson, who was taken out there by Elyounoussi. I'm surprised the referees let that one go. It was almost like he clotheslined David Watson. Copenhagen will play on. There was no whistle. Here's Achuri. No flag at the moment. Achuri has it. Left-hand side of the Kilmarnock box. Rolls it back to Lopez. Dink ball in towards the penalty spots, headed away by Mayo. Still alive for Copenhagen. Vavro down the right-hand side. Can't find Lair, and it's cleared over there by Findlay and out for a throw-in. And Copenhagen are going to make a change here. They're going to bring on their top scorer and the man who's, by all accounts, about to make a €20 million move to Real Sociedad in Spain. Top scorer last season, top scorer this season as well, Ori Oskarsson, the Icelander, is coming on. So Kilmarnock know exactly what he's all about. He was in the starting 11 last midweek. It looks like he's come on for Froholt. So I just wonder if, because they have been on top since the break, I just wonder if the Copenhagen coaching staff feel that this tie could be won in the next 5 or 10 minutes, because they have been on top. And Jakob Nierstrup, the relatively young manager, has made that change, bringing Oskarsson on.
Yeah, Oskarsson, again, he's a goal scorer, that's what he is. He's a young, I think he's only 19, Icelandic, as you said, Liam. Their talisman, the guy that gets them all their goals. He's very impressive. When I was doing some homework on them last week, and as you say, it looks like he's got a big money move on the horizon. So yeah, Kilmarnock need to be aware of his threats going forward. They can't allow many opportunities because he is a goal scorer.
He's got 7 goals in 11 appearances this season. As I said, he was top scorer last term as well. 8 caps, 2 goals for Iceland. Froholt comes off eventually, and this near side making his way all the way round. Kilmarnock meantime have a free kick around about midway inside Copenhagen territory on the right hand side, and again it's Armstrong, left-footed delivery. It's his purest of the night. Breaks to Findlay. Now it's Kennedy looking for Armstrong down the right hand side. He can't find him. Achuri's onto it. He's got a bit of work to do here. Achuri eventually digs it out, finds Elyounoussi. He's actually worked out really well for him, and Lair rolls it out to Dix on that right hand side. The ball forward into the feet of Elyounoussi, right of the centre circle. Into it here for Falk. And now Klaassen, the captain, he'll move into a more withdrawn position now. And Oskarsson coming on. It's now at the feet of Falk, over in the left angle of the box for Klaassen. It's Copenhagen attack Kilmarnock here. Klaassen has it, rolls it right central area here, and Vavro goes from distance, and O'Hara decides to take a little touch onto that, down low to his right. I think it was going wide anyway. He seemed just at the last second, Cammy, he wasn't quite sure of his bearings, and it's going to be a corner.
Yeah, it's one of the ones I think he wants to leave it, but he's not sure. So again, if you're not sure, you get a hand in it, make sure it goes for a corner, you reset. But he faced a number of them opportunities, sort of 30-yard shots last week when Kilmarnock dropped into a low block, so he'll be well aware of that threat as well.
Copenhagen corner from their left-hand side. Their fans behind O'Hara's goal, trying to support them. It's a very congested 6-yard box. O'Hara will have to be careful here. In from Elyounoussi, the header up into the air. The goalkeeper comes, punches it away. Kept alive by Lair, heads it towards the 6-yard line, and then another header from Vavro it was, goes past, well past the left-hand side of the goal frame. 65.5 on the clock. Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 0. Still goalless at Tynecastle, heading towards the half-time interval there Hearts still trailing 1-0 in aggregate to Victoria Pilsen, live on the BBC Scotland TV channel, here on Sports Sound on the radio. Kilmarnock still a goal down in aggregate, 1-0 up on the night. One more goal without conceding, and it's extra time. As Copenhagen get a free kick just outside the centre circle.
Just been looking at the game this half. Kilmarnock sitting very deep. They've not really been in the opposition half. They're struggling. They're struggling to get out.
How much of that leads down to the tank being emptied after the first half, or is it down to trying to sustain an energy level for what will be a big push by the looks of things?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of everything in there. I think they've gave everything in the first half. They'll be a little bit tired for that, but it shouldn't be enough. I think it's Copenhagen look more assured in the ball. They're passing the ball sharper, quicker, and Kilmarnock just can't get there. They seem hesitant at the back to get up, to push the midfield up and get the strikers then doing what they were doing in the first half, up towards the Copenhagen centre half. See now, if this was the first half with the Copenhagen centre halves so much time in the ball, it allows them to pick passes.
Yeah, and it's Copenhagen in possession just inside their own half. It's a long pinged ball with the right foot to the left hand side of the box. He's found a Churi, low ball across. Oh no, it's an own goal. It is an own goal and Copenhagen score. It's smashed across the face of goal, and I don't think there was too much they could do about it. Lewis Mayo slid in and fires it into the roof of his own net. It was all about the delivery from the left-hand side. And on 67.5 minutes, it's Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 1. It's 3-1 in aggregate, and the Danes have their 2-goal lead back.
Yeah, disaster for Kilmarnock, and as Lee was saying, just allowing that time on the ball for Copenhagen, it can hurt you so badly. A long diagonal ball, Achuri just faces up the defender, plays a brilliant ball across in between the defender and the goalkeeper, and ultimately the Kilmarnock defender has to try and clear it and manages, unfortunately, to put it in the back of his net. A killer blow for Killie.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare for Derek McInnes. Lee, that is them back to square one.
Yeah, back to square one. Just a little bit of anticlimax second half. Not the energy that they possessed, the excitingness of the match. Just no real energy to go forward, front foot, and go and press the Copenhagen centre half. It was a great pass, great switch of play, the quality of the cross, and just unlucky for Mayo. So they need to. I would be surprised if Derek doesn't make a couple of changes now, or within the next 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah, they need to win this game 3-1 to take it to extra time. And Kilmarnock looking to respond immediately down the left. It's brilliant from Kennedy, darting into the box along the byline, but he can't keep it in play. And that will be a goal kick. And one apiece it is. And Kilmarnock had 90 minutes from 2 goals down before they started tonight. They've now, Cammy, got just over 20.
Yes.
Same position.
It's a difficult task, Liam, but again, that good run there from Matty Kennedy. He gets the ball, he's wanting to drive with the ball. We've seen so much of that in the first half, and again, it's taken for Kilmarnock to lose a goal to then have that impetus going forward. So I agree with Lee. I think that Copenhagen, you've got to give them credit as well. They've really upped their game the second half. They've took a lot more control of the football as well.
And it's the Danes coming down the right-hand side and winning the throw-in just beyond the midway point of the Kilmarnock half. Yeah, you can hear the atmosphere in the second half has been flatter, and I think the worry from the Killie supporters' point of view is they kind of suspected that this was coming, and it has done. And your goalkeeper, he can make saves, world-class saves as they were from opposition players. There was nothing Kieran O'Hara could do about that. It was right in front of his own goal for Lewis Mayo. I mean, he's got to try and defend it, but it's a thankless situation for a centre-back or any defending player in that kind of situation.
It's horrible, Liam. Again, it's all about Achuri. When he faces the defender up, he just jinks past him, drops his shoulder, gets that half yard, and then flashes it in between the goalkeeper and the defence running back. And as you see, he's trying to clear it because he knows the striker's on his shoulder. If he leaves it, it's a tap into the back of net. So as you say, it is a thankless task, and unfortunately ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah, Killie are chasing shadows right now, I'm afraid. It's a Churi down the left again. He's on to the right, he's looking up at the goal. It's a chip ball towards the back end. It's headed behind for the corner by Findlay. It's all Copenhagen. There's fewer than 20 minutes to play as they head towards the half-time interval at Tynecastle. That'll be around about now. I would have thought in that Europa League playoff, Kilmarnock's Conference League dreams are in danger of disappearing in a puff of smoke here. It is half-time at Tynecastle, 0-0. Hearts, as it stands though, dropping into the Conference League. Outswinging corner for Copenhagen from their right-hand side. As they attack the goal to the left, headed away by Vassell. And drops into the centre circle for Lopez, who plays it short. Near to Falk. And a little ball back by Klaassen to Falk. And over on the right, certainly since the change was made, Oscarsson's come on, he's not really touched the ball, but there are really good midfield players playing in their normal positions now, and they're finding more space in attacking positions. And case in point was Achuri down the left-hand side as he set up the own goal, and he's on the ball again here. Pass forward to El Yunusi. Chance to cross for Dix on the right, breaks to El Yunusi. He's on the turn, just outside the box, out to Dix again, level with the 6-yard line. Played across, El Yunusi's header's off the crossbar as he stooped and nodded towards goal. It bounces off O'Hara's bar, and it remains Killie 1, Copenhagen 1, 72 on the clock. 3-1 to the Danes in aggregate, and this, I'm afraid for the Kilmarnock supporters, is a tough watch.
Unbelievable passage you play there with Copenhagen. I'm just watching them, they're passing the ball with a purpose. You're saying the midfield players, they're going looking for the ball now. With the first half it was all about second balls and they didn't really like the battle. Now they've not got a battle, they're getting space to play and they're showing how good the players are, how good they are. The cross coming in there, free header just off the bar for El Yunusi, and it's just making me wonder, will Derek now, not admitting defeat, but have half an eye on Sunday with the importance of domestic form needing picked up now? And I'm not saying that he's chucking it, he's saying, right, that's us, we're beat now, but maybe bring on a bit of freshness. If there's anybody out there with a niggle that's going to play on Sunday, do you protect him? What do you think, Cammy?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think possibly as the game goes in the next 5-10 minutes, then that'll certainly be within his mind. But yeah, I've got to agree, Copenhagen's class, that's just shown. This is what I was expecting to see last week and potentially in the first half. This sort of second half performance, we know they've got the players, we know they're on a different level. I don't think they've shown it until this second half over the two legs.
Yeah, I mean, I know Derek McInnes said that Kilmarnock have beaten better teams here in Celtic and Rangers last season. Is probably the games he was referring to there, but Copenhagen would mix it with those two in this country, that's for sure. Free kick, Kelly, Armstrong with it from the halfway line, left-footed, but he angles it all the way straight through to the goalkeeper, who holds on. And indeed Derek McInnes is going to make a couple of changes. They've got Hibernian here on Sunday. That will be part of our coverage across the weekend. Killie propping up the embryonic Scottish Premiership table just now. He started with those defeats to Celtic, 4-0, and to St Johnstone here, which was the shocker, wasn't it? And then Aberdeen on Sunday. They looked tired on Sunday, they looked tired in the second half here as well. So Marley Watkins is going to come off and be replaced by Bobby Wales, of course scored that late equaliser against the Norwegians Tromsø. Ultimately, the Joe Wright's winner in Norway took them through, and Liam Polworth is going to come on as well.
Yeah, I think with that one there, Brad Lyons will just drop into right back. Probably
Burrow's coming off,
yeah.
Well, 15 minutes. 1-1, but 3-1 in aggregate. Kilmarnock need 2 unanswered goals in the final 15 minutes plus stoppages. And it's lights out for their European campaign. As I mentioned earlier, some memorable moments for them. David Watson's goal here against Cercle Bruges a month ago. And whilst it isn't tournament proper, still getting those trips for the supporters is something that will always stay with them. A win in Tromsø, the late equaliser here that I mentioned in that tie in the first leg. A lot of good stuff, but they're going to have to dust themselves down, assuming they're not going to be able to turn this around in their favour now. It doesn't look likely, you never know though. They really need to get that league campaign going. As Lee was saying, throw in Kelly on this near side. Danny Armstrong with a long one coming up as they attack the goal to the right. Copenhagen are going to make a change in a moment. Short throw in by Armstrong, gets it back from Polworth. Looking for some space and an angle to cross. A deep ball to the left-hand side of the area, but it can only be headed down and behind for the goal kick by Findlay. And it stays Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 1 here at Rugby Park. And here comes the Copenhagen change. And they're going to bring on Robert, and he's going to replace Ituri, and I'm sure they'll not be too gutted to see the end of Ituri's participation in this football match, as he's replaced by the Brazilian youngster Robert, who's on loan from Cruzeiro in his homeland. And it's a like-for-like change. He plays over here on the left wing, and he's on the ball right now, stretching his legs, rolling it out to this near side, and a decent little flick forward there by Lair, but he can't return the favour, can Robert, and it's out for a Kilmarnock throw-in on this near side as Lyons drives the ball down. But it's one of those, it's a balancing act here at this point, because whilst they will want to take care of themselves and they know they've got big games to come, it's been seen before. You know, teams can score. I think it's Scotland in Norway just over a year ago. I mean, miracles can happen. You just never know.
Absolutely, I mean, and one goal for Kilmarnock changes everything. Just
absolutely.
Nerves kick in for Copenhagen in these last few moments, but just the way this second half went, you can't see that happening for Kilmarnock. Something special's going to happen. It's going to have to be a goal out of nothing or a set piece, because they've had absolutely no control this second half.
They've not looked herself, have they? They've not looked as confident, as dominant as they did in the first half, and it's just allowed Copenhagen players an extra yard to go and express themselves and play. And if you give good players time, especially at this level, then it's going to be a very, very difficult night.
Yeah, the possession is in excess of 70% Copenhagen, and that's across the match. 11 corners to 1. So, and they have been a threat as well. 9 attempts on goal, not all of them on target. And the goal they scored wasn't one of their efforts on target. They've got a man down and a stoppage in play. Some of the players come over to the near side to take on some fluids. 78.5 on the clock. Here on Sportsound, BBC Radio Scotland, extra on digital, 810 medium wave, and online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. The second half will be getting underway at Tynecastle in a few minutes. Hearts still trailing Pilsen 1-0. Goalless though at the interval in the second leg. Saturday, Dundee, St Mirren, St Johnstone, Motherwell, 3 o'clock Premiership kickoffs. All the SPFL matches kicking off at 3 covered here on Sportsound on Saturday afternoon. 5:30 kickoff, Aberdeen are in Dingwall, looking to continue their 100% start under Jimmy Telleen. They face Ross County. Sunday, Celtic Rangers, 12:30. And then at 3, Hearts, Dundee United, and Hibs are here at Rugby Park. And then we're already into the first international break of the season, where Scotland face Poland and Portugal in their Nations League openers. So, still a stoppage in play here. I think Copenhagen, are they going to make another change? Might be forced into this one because Klassen's down. Yeah, he's taken the captain's armband off, so the Swedish international will come off. A couple of tournaments, 74 caps Klassen amassed in his international career. And he is going to be replaced by Magnus Mattsson, who started at the weekend. He comes on for the final 10 minutes. And he joined the club earlier this year. It was the winter window from NEC Breda in the Netherlands, and he's on now. Midfield, that's another like-for-like change. El Yunusi picks up on the right-hand side. He's dancing around and passing it out to the touchline. Out to Dix, moves it in field to Lair. Brilliant challenge by Watson to win it back. Here's Bissell. Just something like that's all they need, perhaps. Kilmarnock have it wide on the left with Kennedy. Looks up at the box. 3 in blue and white stripes are in there! And the goalkeeper holds on. All it needed was a touch from David Watson, who beats the artificial turf in frustration. And it stays Kilmarnock 1, Copenhagen 1, and 3-1 in aggregate. But that was so close to Kilmarnock getting back to within 1.
It was a great counter-attack there. Something I've not done this half even once. Kennedy gets the ball wide. What an unbelievable delivery. And was it Watson? Sorry, Watson just running from midfield. Great forward run. And he must be an inch away from any contact, and that's a goal, and that would have been Kilmarnock in the game. You're right, it can take any sort of moment to put Copenhagen under pressure again.
It would have been some goal as well, Cammy, because he won the ball back in the first place.
And it was just his energy that won him the ball back, seen the ball in front of him, went for it, nicked it away from the Copenhagen player, and as you say, he started it, but what a ball in from Matty Kennedy, unbelievable, and just inches away from getting anything on it. It goes past the goalkeeper and it would have been game on again.
They're still 2 back though. Copenhagen in possession with Elyounoussi just outside the centre circle. He turns round and passes it back to his goalkeeper. Was it his nervy moments tonight, Nathan Trott? It's into the midfield and fired forward by Maatsen down the right, the sub. And it's come all the way through to O'Hara via Mayo, who was the unfortunate player to turn past his own man, his own goalkeeper. Long ball out to this near side, goes out for a Copenhagen throw. And the sands of time are slipping away from Kelly here. 2 back, 82.5 on the clock, and here come a couple of changes, and Daba and Mackay-Steven are going to come on, and he'll be desperate to get Corey and Daba fit again. We saw how important a player he was for Kilmarnock last season. He replaces Danny Armstrong. That's Gary Mackay-Steven, I think, who's officially replaced Armstrong, and another change being made. Burrows, who I said went off earlier, of course he was playing right back at the weekend. It was Joe Wright that came off. Burrows off now. Mackay-Steven comes on, and signed that contract extension for this season. And in the veteran stage of his career now. As that's been rolled back to Trott, the goalkeeper for the visitors, to the edge of his 6-yard box, pumps it high out to this near side. It's sailed out for a Kelly throw-in on this near side. It's getting back underway at Tynecastle. That match, remember, Hearts Victoria Pilsen, live on the BBC Scotland television channel. Hearts 1-0 down on aggregate, Kelly 3-1 down in aggregate, and having to defend here. Ball exactly where they don't want it to be. It's Robert as he gets past one, and his attempt to get past the second. Lewis Mayo, he puts it behind for the goal kick. 6 minutes are left, plus stoppages. Derek McInnes' latest attempt to get into European tournament proper is going to end like all the others in bitter disappointment, unless there is an almighty resurrection here. Kennedy down the left, down to the corner flag. It's a low ball back, looking for Mackay-Steven, who goes down. The referee wags his finger at the Kelly sub. Enough of the ball was taken. I think he's right as well. It looked like there was the ball was taken before Mackay-Steven went down. It'll be very interesting to see what the video assistant makes of it. What was your first reaction, Lee McCullough?
I think he's looking for it. I think he's went down very easy. The ball didn't change. I think the defenders won the ball.
Yeah, no penalty. No penalty.
Was it Watson?
Yeah, I think it was Watson.
I think it was Watson. Yeah. Another run for the middle of the pit. He's brilliant at it. But no penalty for me, sorry.
Yeah, game on. Just a throw-in only. Here come Copenhagen. Maatsen smashes it across. O'Hara as well. Spreads himself. Gets it away with the wrist. I think he managed to get something onto it as it breaks to Vavro, who shoots from 30 yards along the deck. And it's right through to O'Hara, who smashes it high forward with the right foot, but it's controlled in the chest brilliantly by Dix.
Superb by Dix there, just takes all the pressure off. A big long looping ball from the goalkeeper, just takes it casually down on his chest.
Ball's played off Bobby Wales and out for a throw-in on this near side for Copenhagen. Derek McInnes, he looks a forlorn figure down there now. He'll be pleased with some of what he's seen tonight. That first half performance was full of energy. It's just a bridge too far. That goal in stoppage time last week was a hammer blow. A little flick by Ndaba up towards the halfway line. Kennedy can't get it under control. Madsen wins it back for Copenhagen. A little lob forward, headed clear by Findlay. Vassell will give chase. Lopez is there, Pereira's there too. It's Pereira who clears out for a throw into Kelly on this near side, which Brad Lyons will take. Midway inside Copenhagen territory. It needs to come now for Kelly. It needs to come about now. Lyons rolls it down the right-hand side. It's a poor ball. He gets it back though. Off the defender, it's Polworth. Switches the play right to left of the circle. Here's Findlay. Findlay's low ball for Watson. He turns it out to Lyons. Mackay-Steven ahead of him. Made the angle. Lyons moves infield instead and rolls it back into the centre circle. The ball needs to go forward, not backwards.
Yeah, I think when Lyons gets it there the second time, he just needs to deliver it into the box. There's enough bodies in there. It's caused Copenhagen problems all night with the two physical strikers. They'll just get it in the box.
It's taken short, the throw-in on the far side to Ndaba. He gets it back from Polworth. Left of the circle for Findlay, then out to this near side. Mayo to Mackay-Steven. Mackay-Steven's pass cut out, he gets it back. Stabs it into his own half. Mayo looks up. Long left foot ball forward, Vassell goes down, no free kick. And it comes all the way through to the goalkeeper, who'll hold on. And the seconds tick away, 87.5 on the clock. Killie 1, Copenhagen 1, and 3-1 to the Danes in aggregate.
Yeah, it has been probably a bridge too far for Kilmarnock tonight, but what they can take and Derek McInnes can take from this, if they play like this against most Premiership sides in Scotland, they will get results. So I can't see this European run damaging their league form. They've got to take confidence from their showing tonight against a top European side.
Yeah, as much as they'd absolutely love to have created history and gone into the Conference League, perhaps the reduced schedule they'll be facing for the next little while, albeit an international break, helps in that regard, right enough, but you know, they won't be facing the Thursday-Sunday thing, so we'll want to try and at the very least get into the top six as Dix comes forward and looks to switch it out to the left-hand side. Here is Robert, he's inside the box, gets it on to the right, and then his pass forward is cut out and Kilmarnock get it away as Vassell tries to get it under control. He can't do that. Favreau has it and he launches it all the way through, and it comes right through to O'Hara as we tick towards minute 90. And apologies if you have been offended by any of the language you are hearing being picked up by the microphones inside Rugby Park during this live football match. It's a Kilmarnock free kick, right hand side of the centre circle. We are now in minute 90, so Kilmarnock need 2 goals in probably 4 or 5 minutes. Mackay-Steven on the right, his cross is cut out by Lopez, he's gone down there, and he's been hurt by the ball that Mackay-Steven put in. David Watson trying to help him to his feet and tell him to get on with it. A long throw coming up, David Watson to take. Can Kilmarnock score now and make stoppage time very interesting indeed? David Watson with it, bowls it into the Copenhagen box towards the 6-yard line where it's cleared by Favreau. Comes out to this near side for Polworth. Not once but twice he can't find Mackay-Steven, and bounces off the defender on both occasions. Back with Mayo in the centre circle, sweeps it out to Kennedy, wide on the left. It is Matty Kennedy's ball into the box, is cut out just as it went into it and smashed up into the air. 4 minutes have been added, but into the first of them. Killie need 2 goals in 4 minutes. Highly unlikely, verging on impossible now. Kennedy darting down that left-hand side, trying to take on his man. He goes down, the ref's allowing the advantage. In comes the cross, it's only half away. Still alive for Kilmarnock. It just wouldn't break around about the penalty spot for Bobby Wales. It's already had stoppage time heroics in European football this season. Here's Mackay-Steven down the right. Delicate chip ball, but doesn't get enough on it to get it past the keeper. And it's held on to there by Nathan Trott on his 6-yard line, and it stays Killie 1, Copenhagen 1, and 3-1 to the visitors on the aggregate scoreline.
I just feel they've come up short in the final moments, final pass in this second half. They could have made it an exciting finish, but just a little bit of quality they've lacked. The ball just fell there to the wrong person. Stuart Findlay couldn't work his feet quick enough, and it just gives them a moment to kill the game. Kilmarnock have got to be proud of their efforts tonight. I think Derek McInnes will come out and say he's proud of the team about the journey they've been on, but I just think they've been outclassed second half for a team with some fantastic players.
Yeah, Copenhagen will be playing Conference League football. Kilmarnock won't be. Neither will Kilmarnock's first opponents in Europe this season, Cercle Bruges. They are being hammered tonight in this qualifying competition. Yeah, of course, they had a massive win in the first leg, didn't they? They've lost, or they're losing 4-1, but they're 7-5 up on aggregate. So, yeah, sorry, they will be going through. In fact, they have just gone through. Final whistle's gone in that one. The final whistle will be going in this one pretty soon as well. There will be a free kick to Copenhagen, just playing the seconds out. There's another minute still to be played here. But it's good to see that the vast majority of the Kilmarnock support have stayed until the end here.
I was almost just about to mention the fans here. They've been fantastic tonight. They've backed the team all the way, and throughout this European campaign they've been there in their numbers away on their trips in Europe, and as you heard just a minute ago, they've backed the team all the way right to the full final 90 minutes.
There's a shot at the Kilmarnock goal from Maatsen, which goes whistling past the right-hand post, and it remains 1-1. It'll be a small addition to the coefficient. It needs as much as it can possibly amass this season, I can assure you of that. If Kilmarnock don't lose this one. Half points in the qualifiers, of course. Everything will count. Scottish football beginning to lose automatic qualification to some of the tournaments. Champions League, the champions in Scotland will not be automatically through to the league phase of next season's Champions League, the draw for which was made earlier. The draw for the Europa and Conference Leagues is tomorrow. Kilmarnock, unfortunately, as Copenhagen are awarded a free kick, will not be in that draw. But their supporters are, even though the game's not finished yet, are warmly applauding the players' efforts, not just for tonight, but for the journey that they've been on for the last month. The trips to Bruges, Tromsø and Copenhagen won't be forgotten for a very long time for those who were there. Even the home games have thrown up drama aplenty as well. As it stands, it will be 3 draws in their home games. The damage was done on the road. As the referee puts his whistle to his lips and blows for full time, and Copenhagen, Champions League for them last season, it's Conference League for them this time around, by virtue of their 3rd place finish in the Danish Superliga last season. They'll need to work tonight though. 2-0 up coming into this one. Those 2 late goals in the Danish capital, oh so costly for Killie last week. And indeed now that it's all over here. Marley Watkins gave them all kinds of hope with that goal in the first half. Finley's header came bouncing off the post. The goalkeeper made an exceptional save on the follow-up. And Watkins was there to prod it home and give Killie a half-time lead. O'Hara producing 2 magnificent saves as well. Froholt missed a sitter, but Killie were ahead at the break. But second half, they did look as though they were lacking in energy, and it's all proved to be too much for them, both domestically and in Europe as well now, as it's proved tonight. It's taken its toll on them, and perhaps that's a small crumb of comfort in that the schedule will now perhaps allow them to reset, try and get their domestic season going, because they are winless and at the bottom of the Premiership, with Hibs to come here on Sunday. It's Copenhagen who prevail, and it's now all eyes on Tynecastle to see if Hearts can overturn Pilsen and get themselves through to the Europa League, they do at the very least have Conference League to fall back on. Unfortunately for Kilmarnock, the journey ends tonight. It finished at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock won, Copenhagen won. The Danes go through 3-1 on aggregate.
Kilmarnock in the UEFA Conference League